What a game, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that pretty much sums it up, right? First half was pretty bad, pretty brutal.
Yeah, I honestly think I got PTSD from it.
No, dude, that first half. I mean, the whole house was like silent. You know,
Dude, I couldn't even tell you how, like the times where towards the end when there was a commercial, like I cherished that commercial, and by the time that the game came back on, I was like, oh, dude, I don't know if I'm ready. You know, like, because usually when you watch commercials, especially the other night when we were watching that Steelers game, I was complaining the whole time about the commercials.
Yeah.
But that on our game, anytime a commercial would come on and then the game would come back on, I'm like, holy shit, that was quick. You know, and like I feel like I needed that commercial. You know, because it was just it just took a lot out of me.
Yeah. So it's funny. Like I think the main reason why I felt like shitty at halftime. So like, okay, so part of me was like, hey, you know, we've come back how many times? Like, hey, if the game's still in striking distance, Caleb can like still get the win for us. But I think the reason why I was like worried was because of our defense, right? Because in the first half, like our defense really didn't show like any signs of like being able to stop them. Like, you know what I mean? So like it was 21-3. I remember I was telling Chris, I was like, like I think we could score, but like, are we going to be able to stop them? Mm-hmm. So like honestly, like we'll keep talking about like Caleb and the offense and the comeback, but like we got to give like the defense some credit because in that second half, like they really got it. Like they hunkered down. They only allowed them to score 6 points, 1 touchdown. Now obviously their kicker helped with missing a couple kicks, but like I thought the defense definitely like stepped up in the second half and gave the offense the opportunity to come back. You know?
Yeah, and to your point, I asked you a minute ago about whether they choked, which the Packers choked, which they did, but the thing is though, I think it's also fair to say that with them choking, you also need to participate in the winning, to kind of have it make sense, like because I feel like because people forget about that too. I think that like if they were doing bad, then we have to take advantage of that, and they happen to have done that.
Yeah, like so. Look, like the reason why in just general terms that they choked is, again, if you look at the first half, their offense was humming, right? And props to Jordan Love. You know, I've always said he's good. I just never thought he was like a leader by any chance, and I've always made sure to hammer that point. But I mean, the first half he was great, but I'll also say, the Bears defense obviously hasn't been the greatest this year, and in that first half, I mean, we were getting zero pressure. We're letting Jordan Love, sit back there and have plenty of time. And, it's been proven that when he has time, he can really hurt you. And he did. And give them props for taking that big lead against us. But, I thought there was a couple of big things that really hurt our momentum. So, like, again, that first drive, and how many times have we talked about it this year where we have that really good first drive, we kill a lot of the clock, we're moving the ball, and then we have to settle for a field goal. Mm-hmm. And I remember we brought it up. We're like, how many times do we have this chance to go and get a touchdown, and we settle for a field goal? And then I remember we were like, all right, now it's time for the defense to hopefully pick them up, get a 3 and out, and then that 3 points doesn't matter. But of course, the Packers just literally go right down the field and score a touchdown. Mm-hmm. And we're like, see, that's why you have to be able to match touchdown for touchdown, mm-hmm. and we really weren't able to do it. I also thought we had a couple of, just, I guess, the ball not bouncing our way, bad luck. Yeah. So, the Christian Watson second, I'm not going to say touchdown because it wasn't a touchdown, but the one where he dove into the end zone and the ball popped up and fell. And I didn't really know that rule where, like, if his teammate picks it up in the end zone, the ball goes back to where he fumbled it. But I remember saying it that night. I'm like, dude, like, what are the odds that the ball, A, doesn't go, like, out of bounds? Because if it goes out of bounds, it's a touchback. Bears get the ball. Or there's 3 Bears players literally right around the ball, too, and none of them's able to get it. Watson or Dobbs falls on it.
Because rewatching it, I noticed that, like, I guess maybe they opponents, they kind of just assume that they caught it, right? Like they already kind of gave up when it like, you know, when he was going flying into the end zone, like, oh, he got it.
Yeah.
You know, like that's why, like, yeah, like a lot of the times where like these like weird things happen, half the time the other players are just like, oh, the play is over.
Yeah. No, like if you watch it, we just watched it now. The one guy that I noticed on the Bears that had a chance was Byard. Mm-hmm. But it was one of those things like by the time he realized like, oh shit, it's a live ball, the Dobbs already was like Dobbs was just like right place, right time. And it was just there to fall on it. So, but like saying, like we just had some tough luck. Yeah. Like, and then in the beginning of the third quarter, we had that one play that could have changed everything, where he threw it to that fat lineman, and then we stripped it. And what's his name? I think it was Dexter had the chance to fall on it, and of course he like tries to fall on it. The ball like pops out and goes out of bounds. But I'm saying like I felt like we had a couple of like kind of bad luck bounces that went against us. In the first half and early in the second half. But like I said, I give credit to the defense for sticking through and keeping us in the game. And then again, Iceman does Iceman things, I mean, what else can you say? He was just, again, electric in the fourth quarter.
Hey, if anybody, still has that question, if you were to pick like Jordan Love or Caleb, like Iceman, like we have a quarterback that is good in big clutch situations, moments. And apparently Jordan Love didn't do that. So
and again, what did I say last week? If I had to pick one guy for one game going into the playoffs, I might take Jordan Love because he had the experience of playing and everything. And look, he had a great game. He threw for 4 touchdowns. He had 3 of them in the first half. So that takes nothing away from Jordan Love. But remember what I said. Like if you want to give me a guy for now and for the future, I'll take Caleb all day. Mm-hmm. And you want to give me a guy that's going to come through in the clutch and in the fourth quarter, I'm taking Caleb Williams all the way. Mm-hmm. And again, even though the offense didn't, left some points on the board in the first half, like again, if we want to dissect Caleb again, I keep saying this, he did throw 2 interceptions, right? And obviously, he'll be the first one to tell you that he's got to clean that up. But
I just to clarify too, I don't know if you saw or people are talking about how that one that he got an interception. I think it was to Luther Burden, and he was going on the wrong route.
Yeah, it was a wrong route. Mm-hmm. Now, again, I've looked at that play many times, and when Caleb does get rid of the ball when he throws it, I'm pretty sure Luther Burden was open already. Okay. So, like, even though he ran the wrong route, like, I will say that if you watch the play, he did kind of throw it up for grabs. But to Caleb's defense, it was a 4th down. So he had to do something. Like, either he was going to run for it, which I don't think he would have gotten it, or he had to get rid of it. Yeah. It was 4th down. And second of all, that Packers player made a dumb mistake anyway, because if he doesn't catch that interception and lets it fall on the ground, mm-hmm. which is what should have happened, Caleb wouldn't have a pick. And the Packers would have had better field position. So that's one pick, okay? And then the second interception, it was a similar play. Again, it was 4th down. And again, if you watch the play, our center, I think Dahlman, had a miss. I think it was just a missed block. Yeah. And the center, or should I say the defensive tackle for the Packers, got through like wide open. Mm-hmm. So it was a jailbreak. If you watch the play, Caleb literally didn't have a chance to really do anything. He was either going to get sacked or he had to throw the ball up in the air, which he did, and it got intercepted. So what I will say with Caleb is both of his interceptions were, in my opinion, excusable. Mm-hmm. Not that interception's ever good, but again, one was a misread, Luther running the wrong route. Ball probably should have been dropped by the Packers anyway, and it wasn't, and it led to an interception. Big deal. Second one, again, was also a 4th down. Guy misses a block. Caleb has to throw it up in the air. It gets intercepted. So like I said, I'm not worried about that. If you look at his completion percentage, again, it ended up being 50%. But you look at Jordan Love's, it was about exactly the same. So I'm not sitting here trying to nitpick his completion percentage in this game. There was also a couple more drops and then obviously the interception. So overall, I thought Caleb played well. In the first half, he was obviously a little bit rusty, wasn't his best. In the second half and in the fourth quarter, like he usually does, he came through and shined for us. The running game was pretty solid, I would say. They did still end up running the ball 28 times, even though they only averaged 3.3 yards a carry. But you know what? They still stayed committed to it to a certain extent until they had to ditch it completely in the fourth quarter. So I thought that was fine. And then other things that stuck out to me in the offense, I mean, you can't say much more about Colston Loveland. I mean, the guy's turning into a star.
Yeah.
So it's funny, like, week 2, we thought the world is falling apart. No, they're not using Loveland. Should they drafted Warren? Like, what's wrong? And now again, you're starting to see as the season progressed that Loveland is indeed a stud.
Yeah. Now we were playing a team that actually wanted him. I don't know if you read about that.
Yeah.
That the Rams were trying to move up to pick him up. Like, I think like that was the topic, or like the story that like was kind of like put down a little bit, and like focused a lot on Warren, but like a lot of these some of these teams were trying to get him.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, I'm very upfront and honest to say that I don't obviously I don't follow college football like extensively.
I don't even.
And so, to be honest with you, just before the draft is when I found out who Colston Loveland is, and I did a little bit of research. But I'll be honest, I didn't really know, months prior to the draft who he was. When obviously Tyler Warren, you had heard a little bit more about him, and especially because Penn State went kind of farther into the playoffs. So I kind of knew more about him. But again, either way, like Loveland was fantastic. DJ Moore again has continued to play a big part in the offense in the last few weeks. I mean, he had 6 catches and just 7 targets, so he was big. Luther made a couple of big catches again this week, so the offense has been humming. So I mean, obviously the first half we keep talking about the slow starts and trying to get through it.
Yeah.
But again, I have a big, and I knew you're probably going to mention it, but I'll bring it up. So a big topic of that people have been talking about a lot has been going for it on fourth down so much in that first half, and here's my take on it. Like, even though I am for being aggressive, and I typically am for going it on fourth down, but part of the reason I get upset with going for it on fourth down sometimes is that a lot of people say that the reason why is analytics, right? Analytics say,
I still don't even really know what that means, to be honest with you.
Well, basically what it means is, for instance, like, it was fourth down. They went for it from their own 32. I mean, I hated that play. For one, I hated that play because our defense the Packers had just driven the ball down the field against us and scored. Our defense isn't even that good to begin with, right? But now they're tired, right? So you have a tired defense. You're early on in your drive and you're on fourth down, and instead of punting the ball back and giving your defense at least a little bit more time to rest and giving them a better field position to try to defend them, you go for it on fourth down. And again, I even analytics said it was only like 44% chance, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. But again, the reason I hate analytics more than anything else is because if you look at analytics through time, that percentage of times that it works, right, includes times that it doesn't work, right? So my problem with analytics is that the majority of the time that, let's say, someone goes for it on 4th and 1 and makes it, it includes teams like the Eagles, right? And the Eagles make it 90% of the time, right?
Yeah.
But then there could be a shit team that makes it 5% of the time, right? So, like, just because it works 48% of the time, are we really counting the times that it doesn't work? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's like 4 teams that make it 80% of the time, so it makes it look like, oh, we should be going for it. But like, A, if you don't have the personnel to go for it, maybe you shouldn't go for it. And B, if your defense isn't very good, maybe you shouldn't be putting them in a situation where they're now on a short field against the Packers. So personally, even though like I like that he's aggressive, Ben, and I think we went for it on 4th earlier in the game, like around the 40 of Green Bay. To me, that's a little bit different, right? Like, yeah, you're not going to kick a 58-yard field goal with Cairo, right? and maybe you punt the ball, it goes into the end zone anyway, you give them the ball to 20. So, yeah, I could see you're at Green Bay's 40, screw it, you go for it. You take the chance. But for me, if you're on your own 32 or 33-yard line and you're trying to flip the field at that point, I just didn't like going for it. And obviously it didn't work, and now you gave the Packers that easy field position with the Bears defense that was tired. So personally, that's why I'm kind of give or take on going for it. But on that play, I personally just did not like it.
Yeah, I'm starting to really learn about that, about how about just going for it. And the one thing I am learning just from my observation is that it's a momentum shifter, right? So I forgot what game it was that we were watching last week. I forgot what team. I'm butchering it, but what was the team that didn't go for it? Oh no, it was the Niners. Yeah, the Niners. Remember when we played them? They kicked it for the first time in 3 games or whatever. Yeah. So that to me is when you make a team that rarely kicks a ball back. It's a little bit of a momentum shift. Just hey man, you don't want to you don't want to go for it now. Oh, you got to kick it back. It's it's kind of like a.
But the only difference with that, even though it's a good point, but the only difference with that is that the 49ers didn't necessarily not punt for 3 games because they kept going for it 20 times. They just literally never had to. They were literally scoring a touchdown. Or a field goal literally on every play.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like that they were going for it. It was just that they didn't have to punt because they just kept scoring a touchdown every play.
Yeah. No, I agree. I just think that that I think when teams go for it, it's a statement,
No,
that and obviously to your point,
but to me you're only losing, you're losing 14-3 already. The Packers already have the momentum. Maybe this is time to just be hey, let's just punt it back.
Yeah.
So but otherwise, I do like the aggressiveness. I do like to go for it. But remember, Dan Campbell had the same issue. He had that NFC Championship game with the 49ers where he was winning 21-3 or whatever, 14-3, and they had a 4th down at their own 30-yard line, and he has this notion, I got to go for it, and it ended up flipping the field, and it gave the Niners the momentum. So they're saying I'm okay with going for it, but you have to know the game situation, your defense. Is your defense good? Is your defense tired? Is their offense going to be able to take advantage? All of those things should be on your top of your mind when you're deciding to go for it, not just analytics, not just 52% of the time it says we should go for it here, so we should go for it. No. You know what I'm saying? That's just my take. That's why I'm not a huge analytics fan, because again, analytics tells you the total times that it works, but it's not telling you hey, if my offensive line sucks, am I still going to make it 52% of the time? If my running back isn't that good, am I still going to make it 52? That's the only thing I don't necessarily like or trust about analytics.
As you were just saying that, I was thinking about the Anchorman. This is Sex Panther. Is you see who's Sex Panther. It's it works 60%. All the 100%. Time, all the time.
Yeah, that's basically what Dan Campbell thinks about going for it on 4th. He thinks it's going to work 100% of the time. But
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple of those more than a couple of instances like that where we're going to be scratching our head well, should it? I mean, hopefully we're going to be on the good side of the situation.
Yeah, and again, let me say this again. The 49ers game against the Bears, where it was the regular season, and we literally weren't stopping them. They were scoring on every possession. With that kind of game, if it's 4th down and it's 35-35 and you got to keep up, I get it. You got to go for it, right? But I felt this game, it was still early. It was still the first half. I feel Ben just kind of got excited and just wanted to be yo, we got to do this. But I feel in that instance, I just thought it was a better idea to punt. But hey, at the end, it worked out. We still won. So
yeah, I'm very up and down. But I remember this morning, I was just really nervous and scared. The whole afternoon, I was just thinking man, this could really be done. Yeah, done for us. And it took me a lot, like the whole day to kind of just like sift through like YouTube videos of someone credible telling us that it's going to be okay, or that we have a chance to win. Like, you know, I saw like Kyle Long talk about it, whatever, saying like, yeah, like, you know, the weather is really gonna help us, which it will.
Yeah.
I kind of at first didn't agree with that either, because I was telling, you know, I mentioned this before, that, you know, a lot of these players are transplants. They don't live here, you know, but I think like they live here now and they're acclimated to it, because apparently Ben Johnson doesn't play with the heat on.
Yeah.
And there was another piece that I saw on YouTube too about Bill Belichick was asked. I don't know if you read about that, but Bill Belichick was asked about the weather, and they asked him if it does affect him, and he says like, "Fuck yeah, it does." You know, like, I don't care who you are, you can't simulate that weather the way we have it. You know, like the weather right now in like LA right now is like 80 degrees.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I honestly think like that's true. I just don't know how much. I obviously, like, the home field advantage is going to be like crazy, and that's going to be the biggest part, is like the crowd and like the vibe. You know,
I mean, the crowd's gotta, you know, I mean, that Packers game, the crowd was insane. I mean, obviously there was a part of the game where they were quiet, but, you know, we didn't really give them much to cheer about for a little bit. But yeah, once things got close or interesting, like, the crowd was crazy. But you know what though? Like, even though, like, yeah, this game does scare me. Like, I'm not gonna lie, but the Packers game scared me too. You know, but I think, you know, going back to what we were saying last week, where this season, you know, has brought us as Bears fans. I think most Bears fans can say pretty confidently that, you know, if you give us this scenario in the beginning of the year, you know, Caleb starts to, you know, shows signs of huge improvement. Caleb becomes the Iceman. The Bears win 11 games. They're in the divisional round hosting a playoff game. You say that to anybody, and the Bears fans will take it. I think that last week, remember I said that a lot of people were saying, hey, if we lose, you know, who cares? You know, we made it this far. No one believed that we could make it. But remember I said, like, it's just losing to the Packers is what would make it miserable. But I feel like now that we beat the Packers, like, that game just meant so much that, like, again, we can still win this week, and you know, we should think that way. But if we were to lose this game, I'm not going to be like that devastated, right? Because again, no one expected us to make it this far, right? But dude, I completely agree with you, because I was thinking about a lot of that today too, about like, just like, you know, like being grateful that like we have another week of football left, and it's been a really great experience as a fan, right? And the thing that really kind of took me there was thinking about last year. Like, dude, like, think about that Thanksgiving game. You know what I mean? Like, talk about like just complete like disaster. Yeah.
Right?
When that game they should have won. And then they had that game against the Packers where they had a field goal and they got blocked. They had a game against the Vikings where they screwed up a chance to win the game. So, like, yeah, last year was like, again, they found any way possible to lose a game, and then this year they're finding any way possible to win. No, and I think that's what coaching matters.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. I was about to say that, like, seeing what they are now, we can confidently say, and even watching it on the Packers game, is that, would you say that, like, you didn't feel like they were going to make like these really like ridiculous like mistakes, like the same way we did last year? Like, to me, like, when I was watching the game, I wasn't really worried about that at all. I wasn't worried about that, you know, Caleb was going to make a dumb play, or, you know, like someone was going to do something stupid. Like, I think like Ben really just like kind of put that to rest, and that like we won't have to worry about any of that. We would just have to really worry about, like, you know, like I don't know how many penalties that we had. I don't think we had barely any. You know, we Jordan Love like had a delay of game. Like I think we had like maybe one penalty, and that was really it. But it was very, very minimal. You know, and I think that moving forward, like especially next year. Is going to be they're going to be on top of it, and they're on top of it now, you know. But I think like we're not that dumb, like that team that is just embarrassing to watch, you know. We're in these primetime
we're
moments.
legit
Yeah,
we're legit.
Yeah, we're not shit, you know. We're not like fucking scratching our heads like, man, dude, like we're not embarrassed anymore, basically.
Yeah. It feels great. And before we get into the prediction, I do want to bring one thing up, because I know the Caleb Williams' completion percentage has been a big topic of conversation, and you know, all the talk shows are talking about it. You know, anyone who's trying to like throw any wrench on Caleb's success is bringing that up. And again, I've said it here before. I don't think he's the most accurate passer, and that's still something he's improving. But I do want to point out that it's, again, we're winning games, right? So, like, why is it that important? And again, I was watching Netflix last night, and I don't know if any of our, followers have watched, but there's a documentary about John Elway. Mm-hmm. So I watched it last night, and it's an interesting watch, so I recommend anyone who hasn't seen it. But it made me think. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pull up John Elway's numbers. And actually, go to John Elway Sports Reference and look at his stats, because it just goes to show you that not every quarterback, and not even every all-time great, because Elway is a Hall of Fame all-time great champion. And again, he didn't win 2 Super Bowls till his last 2 years of his career, okay, mind you. But go look at his completion percentages. Here, zoom in if you could a little bit. 47%, 56, 54, 55, 54, 55, 53, 58, 53, 55. Oh, his career high, 63, 62, 58, 61, 55, 59. So my point in all of this is one of the all-time great quarterbacks. And no one denies that. And when they were watching him play in the 80s, and when he was, doing the drive against Cleveland and taking them to Super Bowls, he was doing it with a 54% completion percentage. Hell, he had 1 year in 85, 54%, and he had 22 touchdowns and 23 interceptions. And again, I'm not trying to criticize Elway. Elway's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But my point is that, look, there's been all-time greats that maybe completion percentage isn't their forte, but they do other things that stick out, and they do other things that help teams win. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, maybe Caleb's not the most accurate passer, and maybe it's still something he's improving on, but I just wanted to really get that off my chest, because when I saw this last night, I was just like, holy shit. Like, this guy's career completion percentage is 56.9%, and he's considered one of the top probably 10 quarterbacks of all time. So, there's that. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest.
I hear you. I hear you.
But yeah, and if this is on a reel, for any reason, anyone who's got opinions on this, please chime in, because I hope you guys feel the same way, that sometimes this whole completion percentage thing is kind of overblown, I think. Yeah. I know Chino would love to hear that. Thanks. You're welcome, Chino.
I know Marty was a big Elway fan, wasn't he? No.
Yeah, it was, actually. Yeah. Shout out Marty Reinhardt, big. But I think he was a Broncos fan because he always picked him on NFL Blitz. I could be wrong. Like, Marty, you'll have to text me if you listen. But no, but now, yeah, going back to the Rams game, it's funny because we always do these keys to the game, and I feel like I'm repeating myself, because again, our keys to the game are usually the same, because we know what we're dealing with, right? We have a defense that isn't the best. We have a solid run game. The weather is going to be cold. This is when we need to take advantage. And again, this is why, like I said, 4th down and going for it and all that, you got to just be careful when and if you're doing it, because the other team out, the Rams have a great offense, and the last thing you want to do is give them a short field to just score a quick touchdown on you. So, my take is we got to run the ball. And like I said, that first drive against the Packers, that's exactly what we need to do. Run the ball, sustain drives, 8-9 minutes. Let your defense get some rest in the sideline. And at the end of the day, put a touchdown on the board and don't settle for field goal. Mm-hmm. And again, I feel like we've been saying this every week, and every week our offense sputters in the first couple quarters and then comes through. Praying that this week is different. But remember, the 49ers game, we didn't wait till the fourth quarter. We were matching them score for score, and this might be similar. So again, I'm deathly afraid of Puka. No one's been able to stop him, and so I'm petrified of Puka. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, just control what you can control. Run the ball. Keep the ball as much as you can. Again, Stafford, another quarterback that doesn't have much mobility, and he has been hit. The Panthers hit him and hurt. I think it was his hand or his wrist. So again, you gotta come after him. You gotta hope to rattle him a little bit. Hopefully, you don't give up too many big plays in the run game. They do have Kyron Williams and Blake Corum both. But yeah, I think if we're able to run the ball and win that time of possession, we're able to get a turnover or two, we should be able to win. We should be able to win the game. Are the Rams probably going to score some points? Absolutely. But yeah, same time, we got to be able to keep up with them, and I think we can do it. And like you said, I think that the cold weather could definitely be a wild card that could help us too.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up their run.
They got a pretty good run game with what's his name, Williams and Corum, but no, like I said, what you want to be able to do is take an early lead, force them to have to pass, where we can actually blitz or we can actually hopefully get some pressure. The last thing we want to do is get into position where they're running the ball strong against us, and then it really opens us up to not know what's going on, or you get some confusion in the back, or you get even a play action pass that can kill us. So yeah, the key is going to be running it ourselves. Like I said, winning the time of possession, and then obviously stopping them from running and forcing them to be one dimensional.
What is your opinion about Stafford?
Stafford's great. I will say though, he's been dealing with a couple of little injuries the last couple of games, and again, I don't know if I read this right, that he's like 1-8 when it's like under certain degrees or something like that in cold. I don't know. I read somewhere his record in cold weather games. Now, I do have to give him some credit there though, is that he played with the Lions for a long time. So his record might not mean that he did bad. It just mean that the team sucked. But you know what I mean? But yeah, what else are you gonna do, man?
Would you consider him to also be like a statue?
No, he totally is. At this age, Matt's never been known for being the most mobile quarterback, but he, maybe when he was younger, he had a little bit of mobility, but. Mm-hmm. As far as right now, if he's back there, if you get back to him, you're probably going to get a sack. He's not going anywhere. So
yeah. So what we're watching that Panthers game, you could definitely tell he's just gonna stand there.
Yeah, and they like to throw quick hitches. So the Bears just got to get better at tackling, man. We were just talking about that. Their corners have been awful at tackling. If you look at that play where Matthew Golden caught the pass and scored, we missed 4 tackles on that one play. You got a lot of guys who are just, again, sticking an arm out, whatever, but they're not they're not trying to tackle them. So yeah, it's got me a little worried. They're definitely gonna be throwing those little screens and outs to Puka, and we got to make sure that we tackle well and we avoid giving up the big play.
So the analogy I would probably like to give to describe this game is literally a real version of Rocky Balboa. When you say the Rams are like Drago, and the reason why I say that is because, yeah, again, I think we know our identity right now at its current state is that we're not really good on defense, and we have a hard time starting early and this and that, and we can we can agree that like we just are what we are,
Yeah.
and it's still we still can't really explain what the fuck happened last week. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it. You know, like if you are a spiritual person or whatever, you know, like maybe you might have been praying, you know, maybe you were, you know, you had a little seance or whatever, you did your thing. And honestly, like, hey, it worked, you know, you're going to really need to do it again this time because from my understanding, we're not going to say they're going to lose, but this is going to be some different animal right now.
Yeah. But again, look at how many times mainstream media and everyone has picked against the Bears, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, I could start with as early as the Eagles game, right? No one thought we were going to win that game, and they went and whooped their ass, right? And then you had the first Packers game at home. No one thought we were going to win that. Everyone picked against us. We won. Then you have this week, you have that, you know, Dan Orlovsky saying the Packers are going to, like, annihilate us. It's not even going to be close.
It's funny because they didn't – sorry to cut you off, but, like, I tried looking for some response of, like, them bringing, like, at least somebody from ESPN going, like, hey, you remember that last week when you did that?
No, of course
no one's ever going to, like, hold them accountable for that. But go ahead, sorry.
No, but and again, look at now. Everyone, they brought it up, and everyone picked the Rams. So – you know, at the end of the day, you just when this is happening, you just gotta prove people wrong. They've been doing it all season, so hopefully, you know, it keeps going this week.
But you can at least agree though, like in fairness, like if people do agree that like that they might lose, it's debatable, right? You know, I think there's logic to it, right? And I was really thinking about this a lot recently about how, you know, like people make their predictions, and you know, like a lot of it is like the people who are more grounded. They're really reliant on what is, right. You know, like they rely on like what currently is, like the Bears are like the defense is this and the offense is this, and that like they use logic to kind of go like they haven't exactly shown that they can start early, so like, and they haven't been able to show, you know, like signs that you know, like that they can overcome this, you know, so it's right, it's you know, they're not wrong to kind of be like, all right, like this is going to be tough and we're probably not going to win. And it's all in fairness, you know, I think that like they have the right to say that, right? Yeah. You know, and, you know, but I think, just for the sake of bad juju, you know.
Yeah. No, like I said, this is going to be a tough game. But like I said, I think that it's still winnable. You're at home. It's going to be cold. You have the Iceman on your team. Why not? Why not us, you know? Mm-hmm. So, like, my prediction – might be a little crazy, but my prediction is going to be 33-31, and the Rams are going to miss a field goal to try to win the game at the end. They're going to miss it, and then we're going to win 33-31.
That's a really good prediction.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
and if that happens, you know, we'll be celebrating in Vegas.
Oh my God, I'm so happy. So what are you going to be? Where are you going to be to watch the game?
I don't even know yet. We're still going to figure all that out this weekend. You know, which sports book or which bar or whatever. I don't even know where we're going to watch.
Yeah, I'm jealous, man. Yeah, Joey's going to Vegas, by the way.
Yeah.
Joey and Chino. So, I mean, I don't know. I haven't been there in a while. I don't know what it's like these days, but, like, is it still popping or?
I mean it's not the same. But yeah, when you go in January, it's different. Like, you don't have the pools or anything. It's more just, like, for us, it's more, like I said, this is our fourth year going. This is more of like watching football, putting some bets, mm-hmm. you know, and getting some good food, and that's pretty much it. So should be good.
All right, good food.
Yeah. So Bears 33-31. Let's go. Bear down.
You want to talk any like the Cubs stuff or whatever? Because they signed someone else in
there. Yeah, so real quick, again, on the Cubs, we'll keep it a little light, but I do want to bring up, obviously, we had some big news. And the funny enough, the news broke during the Bears game. And when it broke, it was like 21-6 still. So, like, I was like, well, at least this will cheer me up. And then obviously the Bears came back and won, so, like, almost even forgot about it. But, yeah, so the Cubs signed Alex Bregman. Personally, I like the signing. It does give us a bat and a guy that doesn't strike out often. So, a guy that puts the ball in play, hits for decent power. I don't know how much his power is going to translate at Wrigley Field. Usually right-handed hitters, especially of late, with the wind blowing in more than out, it's kind of affected their power numbers. But I still think Bregman is good for a good solid 20 to 22 home runs. Like I said, a good average. He's going to hit a lot of doubles, drive in runs, and he doesn't strike out a lot. So I do like the signing in that sense. I am hearing, rumors about Nico Horner being on the trade block, which I don't know if I'm a huge fan of. But yeah, Cubs fans, let me know what you think. Do you like the signing? Do you like the signing of Alex Bregman? Why? Why not? And then, what other moves would you like to see the Cubs make? I'd like to see what some of our listeners think. Me personally, I still think we have to, I would love for us to have a surefire closer. I think Palencia can be that guy eventually, but I'd love to see one more shutdown guy at the end of the bullpen. And then, I do like the Cabrera trade. I totally forgot about that too. So, yeah, Cub fans, let me know what you think about the Cabrera trade, what you think about the Bregman signing, and then, what other moves would you like to see the Cubs make? I mean, we've talked ad nauseum about them being cheap, and still to this day they haven't spent $200 million on a contract yet. But hey, at least they did something. I do like the Bregman signing, and let's see what else they can think of doing before spring training. So yeah, but interested to see what our what our followers think that the Cubs should do.
All right, good.
And then and then finally the Bulls. I mean, again, I don't know what else, how much more we can talk about the Bulls. I mean, again, they've been without Giddey. I think they're now 3-6, I believe, without Josh Giddey. So Giddey is showing that he may be important as far as winning on the team, but it's also allowed Trey Jones to really kind of, he's looked really good. So, yeah, the Bulls might have a couple dilemmas on their hands. I know Kobe White's been in and out of the lineup, so he's been playing a game, not playing a game or whatnot. But, yeah, since we last talked, I think the Bulls actually, when was the last time here, scroll down. When did we?
I think we mentioned at least like these games.
Yeah. I think. No. The Pistons
January
game.
7th.
The Pistons game was going on when we did it last. So, yeah, they lost the game to the Pistons, 108-93. Then the Heat game was postponed with some weird stuff on the court. I actually sold the tickets to that game, and so now it got postponed for like 3 weeks from now. But that game didn't get played. Then we beat the Mavs at home by 18. That was nice. Funny enough, that game was going on during the Bears game, so obviously no one cared about the Bulls, but they won. And then they lost a close game to the Rockets. So they finished 1-2 last week. Not the worst. I would have expected them to lose to Detroit and to Houston, and they did beat Dallas. So overall, I can't say it was a really bad week. And now they're playing the Jazz, and it's 56-54, 6 minutes left in the first half. But no, with the Bulls, again, it's still early in the season. The only thing I might ask Bulls fans if they want to chime in is, what their thoughts are on our guards, right? Like, should we be retaining? Should we be retaining Kobe White? Like, should we re-sign him? Should we try to pair up Kobe and Giddey and build around them both, or should we get rid of? Should we let Kobe walk? Should we trade Kobe? So again, these are all things that I'd like to see what our Bulls listeners think, and kind of get an idea of what they're thinking. So definitely comment and let us know, and we can definitely chime in on that next week.
We never actually ended up talking about like the whole like fuck the Packers thing, whatever. And we could probably, I don't know if you still want to talk about it particularly.
No, I'll bring it up real quick. So yeah. I'm gonna address. I won't say the elephant in the room, but an elephant, one of the elephants. So just real quick, like I just got thoughts on it. So a lot of them being talked about Ben Johnson after the game, right? For one, the handshake. Everyone keeps talking about, the way he acted on the handshake or how the handshake went, and then his comments in the locker room saying "fuck the Packers" and to hell with them or whatever. All right, so I got my thoughts on that. So
I do too.
So for one, I love it, man. I love that we can maybe call this a rivalry again, because Remember how I've been saying this for years, right? Like, I can't stand going, or I couldn't stand, not anymore, but I couldn't stand going to a Bears-Packers game, getting annihilated by the Packers. They're like 12-3, and we're 4-11, and then we're walking down the tunnel, and people are screaming, "Green Bay sucks," and I'm just looking at myself like, why are we chanting this? Like, I was just like, it's just gonna feel so great to be able to finally chant that when it actually makes sense, when we beat them in an important game, when we knock them off of a playoff game, like, you know, like, that's when you can say Green Bay sucks with your chest out. Mm-hmm. So, like, as someone who has always wanted to say it, but say it like when it means something, I love it. Mm-hmm. I love that he's embracing the rivalry. And then also, this has gone back from beginning of the year. So remember, during the press conference, I think Ben was trying to, obviously Ben was trying to spice things up and be confident as a new head coach for the Bears. And he was like, hey, one thing I was used to Detroit was beating Green Bay twice. Mm-hmm. And again, I love that he said that, because it's going like, I'm embracing this rivalry. But then if you remember, they interviewed Matt LaFleur and they told him like, hey, so Ben Johnson said he enjoys beating you twice. And then to which Matt LaFleur said, who? So like, let's not pretend that Matt LaFleur has been like super like nice and super whatever, and Ben Johnson's an asshole. I mean, if you watch the first handshake after the loss in Green Bay, the same thing happened. Johnson was waiting for him, and he kind of ran and gave a half-ass handshake quickly and ran away. So, like, that's why I don't understand what the big deal is. He gave a shitty handshake to Ben. Ben returned the favor. They were talking a lot of shit about the Bears before the game. He's said Ben who in a press conference. So I don't care. I don't get why it's a big deal that he said fuck the Packers. Like, I love that.
Yeah, I think evidence has shown over the past year, this past year, that I think, like, he's a very he can snap.
Yeah,
like reporters, you know, like it's like,
or that time he took his shirt off and he was like flexing.
Yeah,
like,
I think it's for real.
Yeah.
And especially nice. Him being used to being Detroit, like it just carried over.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not a gimmick. You could tell like this is legit. That's him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so. I particularly like the craze about this subject. Like, it's fun. I really did try to think about and understand like the whole issue with it, and it makes sense to people who are very like kind of more PG, not used to cursing and this and that, but
don't you think like in the old days, Lombardi and Hallis, like, these guys hated each other. Like, mm-hmm. That was the point of a fucking rivalry, right? Like, is to like, you're supposed to despise the other team.
Yeah.
Shit. And if Packers fans want to be salty about that, I mean, the Packers literally probably did one of the worst things in sports ever. Charles Martin slamming Jim McMahon to the ground and injuring him like 15 seconds after he threw the ball. Like, if we really want to talk about, teams doing really shitty things in a rivalry, like, I can go there. Mm-hmm. But like him saying fuck Green Bay, like in the locker room with the Bears, like, who cares? So a camera caught him say that. What if the camera wasn't there? Would anyone give a shit that he said fuck Green Bay? Like, you don't think Matt LaFleur said fuck the Bears or fuck Chicago, like with his in his locker room with the Packers? And if he did, why I wouldn't care that he said that. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, and I think like on a more like practical scenarios of like using language like that or whatever, like in a business setting, it's a different story. But like, this is like sports entertainment, dude.
Right.
Like this isn't exactly like, George McCaskey's gonna like ask him to fucking go in his office and be like, hey, like, you can't say that, or I'm gonna have to let you go.
Yeah.
Like, you think like that's never gonna happen.
Exactly.
And I think this is just different. And I think this is, if you want to nitpick and say that's like disrespectful, yeah, sure, you have the right to say so. But I think just people just have to remember this is sports entertainment.
And at the end of the day, he's saying that more to hype up his players. He's not doing it to piss off the Packers. He's doing it to hype his players up.
I mean, in the back of his head, he's just like, fuck that dude.
Exactly. So that's enough on that. I just wanted to just kind of address that because I thought it was kind of ridiculous that people are making a big deal of it. I think. But.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about a little bit around the league stuff?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to just kind of wrap up, I thought most of the games were. Except for the last two games, all the games I thought were good.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought the games were good. I thought. So let's see. The first game was the Panthers-Rams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was good. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be a good game, but the Panthers stayed in it and they almost freaking won, which means we would have been playing the Panthers, which would have been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously that didn't happen. But yeah, that was a great game. The Bears game obviously was. Maybe it wasn't great all the way, but that last fourth quarter and us winning obviously was phenomenal. And then Sunday's games, Bills-Jaguars was good, went down to the end. Eagles 49ers literally went down to the end. So, up until that point, all the playoff games were sick. Mm-hmm. And then, the Sunday night game, I literally fell asleep. That's how bad that game was. It wasn't very entertaining.
Yeah,
and then obviously we saw the Monday night game, which actually was close up until the fourth quarter, and then the Texans defense just devoured the Steelers. So, but yeah, this week, so we got Broncos and the Bills. That's going to probably be a pretty good game. We got what other games? So Broncos, Bills, and I think
Patriots,
Texans is Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Sunday games. First game would be.
January 7th.
Yeah, no. Seahawks, Niners is Saturday. Bills, Broncos is Saturday. Yeah. So Bills, Broncos will be the first game on Saturday, and then Seahawks, Niners will be the second game on Saturday. And then, Sunday will be Patriots, Texans, and then Bears, Rams.
Yeah, so...
if I have to predict right away, I'm going to take... You know what, man? I kind of... I kind of hammered down on Josh Allen taking his first Super Bowl in the confidence pool. So why not? I'll take the Bills over the Broncos. I'll take the Patriots winning a close one over the Texans. I'll take the Seahawks to beat the Niners, and then the Bears. So then the championship Bears would be Bears at Seahawks, and then it would be Patriots Bills at Patriots next week.
It'd be hilarious if it was Super Bowl was Bears Patriots.
I know. It would be the 40th anniversary of Bears Patriots. That would be amazing.
That'd be sick.
Only time will tell.
Yeah. But I mean, I was going to say too, what's it called? Yeah, I think, it's a very interesting time right now about how it's an end of an era, man. Fucking Mike Tomlin. How fucking long has he been coaching for? And I was thinking about it earlier, before we started, is that wasn't he the youngest head coach at the time when he signed?
Wow,
and damn, that's crazy.
So I still had an iPod when he signed. Remember those?
And, yeah. I mean,
I think I still had a CD player.
Was it 2008? 7? Holy Christ, man.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. He might retreat to where, and he might have a think about it.
Ayahuasca.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I honestly think that it's just a reflection of just times are just changing, man. The quarterback class that these days is it's all these young guns, these mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It's just the game is just different.
I also feel like there's a shift. There's a shift in coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So and it started with Bill Belichick.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I used to tell Phil this, is that I feel like right now the league is moving into a younger coaches, offensive-minded coaches, a lot of times offensive-minded coaches, but a lot of younger, very rah-rah kind of team guys, and less of the old school, tyrant kind of coach, do what I say. Like, you know what I mean? Like you see Belichick's gone. Now Harbaugh's gone. Tomlin's gone. And now you're just starting to see a lot of the new blood and the new coaches. Shit, the longest tenured head coach now is Zach Taylor for the Bengals. And I was kind of surprised that he kept his job, to be honest with you. But, yeah, he's the longest tenured coach. So I just feel like, yeah, you're right. The NFL is almost kind of switching up a little bit with head coaches. They prefer to see, like, some younger guys now get opportunities.
Yeah, man. I mean, where do you think Mike McDaniel goes?
I don't know, man. That's a good question. I don't think he's going to be a head coach, though, Mike McDaniel. I think he's going to end up being an offensive coordinator somewhere. Mm-hmm. Actually, it wouldn't surprise me if Tomlin or Harbaugh, wherever they sign, maybe looks at bringing him in to be the offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because remember, McDaniel was the offensive coordinator for the Niners before he took the job with the Dolphins. So, and I think we all know that he's good at calling plays. He's just not the best head coach, but
yeah. And then obviously, John Harbaugh, we don't know what's going to happen with him.
Yeah. But hey, who knows? Next week when we do this segment, maybe we got some answers.
Yeah, and it's a crazy ride, man. Crazy ride right now, and I'm almost kind of like a little like nervous. Like I turn the camera off, whatever, because the next podcast we will have known what happened.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, but remember, like at halftime of the Packers game, we were like, man, this might end up being a rough podcast if we don't make the comeback. So thankfully we made the comeback. We don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, again, man, just grateful, man. Just grateful that we have all these games, dude, and just take.
Sounds like a good name for an episode.
Just be grateful.
Grateful.
Well, I don't think it would be right to do it in this one because that would imply that we had lost.
True.
So I think,
enjoy the ride.
Enjoy the ride. See, that would imply too. That would be like, hey,
No, it just means try to enjoy the ride for what it is. Don't get too caught up in it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I have a hard time putting names to these podcasts, so forgive me, everyone who sees the titles of these podcasts. Honestly, don't. I'm horrible at that stuff.
Ramming it. I'm just joking.
It might have to be that because I can't think of one. But. Yeah, the next time you have seen this podcast, we'll hopefully it's a good outcome, and just I appreciate that, that this season has gone the way it has, and we'll still have shit to talk about.
No, I mean we're still gonna if it gets look. So we're either gonna be recapping a game or recapping a season. So either way. Stay tuned. Next week will be good. I promise.
Oh yeah, basically saying that we could either be still talking about them or we could be talking a lot about the Bulls.
No,
we're still gonna Blackhawks maybe.
No, we're still going to talk a lot about the Bears, but it's going to either be we're talking about recapping this last game and previewing another one, or recapping the whole season.
There we go.
But we'll see.
Let's go.